Cool.
Cool. Okay. So how should we do this? This is the first Q&A video. This
I'm
is
excited.
where we have promised the people who are our patrons over on Patreon.com that we're going to answer some questions. This video is for everyone, but if you want to uh, see us do this more, which we'll do this about once a month, I guess, you need to become a
You don't
patron.
guess. We'll do it once a month.
We'll do it once a month.
Let's
Okay,
let's let's
tie it
promise.
down. Tie it down. Okay, we'll do it once a month. So I'll answer loads of questions about writing, publishing, all that good stuff, but also, anything really, whatever you want answering.
Ask us anything.
Yeah. Okay. So should we explain who we are for people who might not know?
Hmm.
What about you in the hat? Who are you?
I think he's talking to you, Dan. Oh wait, you're not going to be over there on anyone else's screen, are you?
No.
To me, it
Um,
looked like you were talking to someone off camera.
Yeah.
Maybe I was. Maybe no, I wasn't. I'm Matt Butcher. I don't know. I just,
You are Matt Butcher, don't worry. We are sure of that.
I
Yeah.
can confirm that.
Yeah.
are we? Yeah, okay, that's it.
So Matt Butcher,
Um,
one of the writers from Hawk and Cleaver.
Yes.
He's great in front of cameras in general. If you've seen the Facebook Live video from the Lincoln Comic
Yeah,
Con,
I'm really good at talking about myself, as you can tell. Uh,
yeah.
I'm wearing a hat, and yeah,
Where
someone
are
else
you? Where are you,
introduced
Matt?
me.
Are you at your flat?
At my swanky bachelor pad
Yeah.
in Sheffield. It's not really swanky. but
It looks
it's
pretty
flat.
swanky from here.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
And Dan, who are you?
I am Dan Willcocks. I am. There's no point in us saying that we're all from Hawk and Cleaver, but we're all from
Yeah.
Hawk and Cleaver.
Yeah.
I am author of such classics as They Rot, alongside the very talented Luke Condor and Sinter Smoke. And you probably recognize me if you listen to the Story Studio podcast, because I'm a regular host on there as well with the talented Luke Condor.
And my name is Luke Condor.
Whoa!
Yeah. Yeah.
What are the odds?
Twist ended. And so we all write the other stories. We do lots of podcasts. We make books and stuff and comics and stuff like that. So I guess we should jump into the first question then. I don't really see what else we can do. So the first question came in from a lovely individual by the name of Dan Willcocks. Do any of you guys have a
free.
third nipple? Skip, how about you? Got a third nipple? A nubbin?
I don't. I have 2 nipples.
I thought you were going to say you were 4.
I've got 6.
He's a
like
cat.
a cat.
Yeah, he's a cat.
I've got 2, but one of them kind of like it's 3 because
What?
Fun
One of
story.
your nipples looks like it's 3 nipples.
fun story. When me and Luke were younger, we both got our nipples pierced.
We did, yeah.
Yeah, and mine got infected, and now it's 3 nipples. So
Mine got infected, and now now it's not pierced. Like it's just sort of healed up. But it
Yeah,
does
I
look
got
a
rid of
little
mine.
bit odd. Like it does look a bit like the guy from the Goonies. Not too much like, but sometimes it
Isn't
does
it?
scream. I don't know.
Was it something you did together, or was it just?
Yeah. So,
that's-
so we went to. It was in Nottingham, and Skip wanted to get his nipple done, and then I went. Me and an older girlfriend. We went with him, and I think Skip, you were like on the fence at the time, and I said,
Well, no wonder it got infected. You couldn't reach it.
and then I went, and then I went. Then I said, okay, well, look, I'll do it with you. If you pay for me, and then Skip paid for his bow. Skip treated me to a round of nipple piercings.
around
God.
around the pierced nipples.
Skip got
That's
a round
friendship.
Skip got a round in, like it was a round earring thing right through the nipple.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, and then we both
Oh my
left. We both like walked around Nottingham for the rest of the day like that, like holding
yeah,
out, like,
holding our t-shirts off.
because he's like bleeding.
Good thing they weren't
So-
magnetized. That would have been awkward.
Yeah, my other my other nipple is black as well.
What?
So-
What a weird thing to say.
Not as in.
You've got a
Not as
black
in-
nipple. Oh, it's tattooed. No, I know what you mean.
It's
Yeah,
tattooed.
yeah,
It's not.
Oh,
it's,
okay.
yeah.
it's not just.
It's not just darker than the rest.
It's part of a bigger tattoo, though, isn't it? You didn't go in and say, "I'd like this but black."
It started off as the nipple, and then it came.
And then it went all the way down to the belly button.
I'm just no, I don't know. Yeah.
Cool. I don't have a third nipple. The weirdest thing I think I've got around my nipples, or had, I don't have it anymore because I now have a luscious growth of hair on my chest.
Yeah.
But when I was hitting the puberty, my chest hair actually grew in the shape of the McDonald's sign and attached on either side to my nipples.
Like the golden arches, like.
Yeah. I was McDonald's branded. I went through puberty.
Did you sign up for a lucrative marketing deal? Because you missed a trick if you didn't.
I
just feel like send him a picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was before the time of the tweeter and the Book of Faces. So.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a third nipple. I did get one pierced with Matt. It was a lovely experience, and but it's only it's a standard, boring old second nipple, just a saccharine, bog standard nipple. Cool.
So does that mean, Matt, you technically do have 4?
Matt technically has 4 nipples.
If one is 3. Yeah. Okay.
Matt has.
I've got the monopoly on nipples.
Has a
Is it in the shape?
Has one black nipple and a triplet of nipples.
Is it in the shape of the Mercedes
He's
logo?
got a Diglett and a Doug trio.
A triple. Yes.
Oh my god.
Reference.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I think we sufficiently answered that one.
Okay, cool. So question number 2 is from Amy Younger. She says, "Hey guys, love your podcast. It's so rare that you see a horror podcast so saturated with amazing OG content or OG content otherwise. Typical question. Does you mean like original content there?
Yeah.
Doesn't OG mean original gangster?
I mean, I was going to say, does she mean original gangster content? Because we are.
Is that what OG means?
I think so.
Yeah.
But
I'm
assuming she means like original, but OG means original gangster. I'm sure.
Can we get a Hawk and Cleaver gang sign going?
Yeah. You have to figure it out. Typical questions.
I think that
So she's got like 4 questions here, so we'll just do one at a time. Okay. Number 1, where does your inspiration come from? Dan, let's start with you.
Okay, so I think a lot of my inspiration comes from just what interests me at the time. So it's one of these things where I don't feel like I steal ideas, but I definitely borrow ideas from people. So my most recent story, for example, which was the the one before Dynameric, which was When the World Fled East, was kind of like an American apocalyptic tale of people wandering across the country, which was inspired by the fact that I was reading The Stand at the time, and it just kind of came to me from that.
Yeah.
But I think they come from just things that I want to write and things that I want to explore. So I never set out to write a story about a woman celebrating the anniversary of her and her husband in like the artificial intelligence theme, where the cafe hosts dead people and reanimates them for the purposes of people to help them grieve. Yeah. But that was just kind of something that came to me. And once I have an idea and I start rolling with it, I especially in the short stories, for the other stories, I just let it roll whichever way it will. So it's, in a way, kind of letting my subconscious just leak what it needs to, which is both awesome and terrifying at some of the stuff that it comes out with. So
don't you have an idea of your endings then? Or, when you sit down to write the stories, do you know how... Because some of the endings have a twist to them.
Yeah. Well, I have an inkling of the direction that I want to go. Sometimes that doesn't always pan out. So in one of the themes, which was I think it was a metamorphosis theme, I did about 4 different stories because I wanted to write a story about basically loads of insects all crawling out and appearing from a place. But I just couldn't nail it, so I just switched direction and went for something else. But sometimes I have an idea of what I want to do, but then the story kind of takes shape itself as you go through.
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah. What about you, Skip? Where does your inspiration come from?
A lot of it's stuff I've read online, I guess. I mean, I used to be really big into conspiracies, so...
I remember those days.
Yeah, and I used to love them. And I still like, reading up on stuff because it's fun and it's like good story fuel, but I'm just a little bit less crazy and paranoid about it all now, which is, But they're like articles I've read online about like the latest technologies and things like my metamorphosis one about the head transplants. That's a thing I think is going to happen next year, and it's based on what some people are afraid is going to happen, that the mind will go into complete shock over all these new signals and things. So a lot of it is just stuff I've just sort of read snippets about or something, or things pieced together from things I've read like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
when you
I'm
think
really
of,
interested. Sorry, go for it.
I know, when you think of characters to put into those situations, are the characters based on anything in particular, or is it just kind of what feels like it should fit?
A lot of it's, I guess, you can't help but base them on bits of people and bits of. A lot of them are bits of me, like, and you can't really help it. But
Are you the Annihilator?
Maybe.
Yeah.
For anyone who hasn't listened to that episode, it's a guy that spunks a woman to death. So it's kind of based on a true story.
It's called Rogue Shot.
Yeah,
It's
about
a story.
Yeah.
I think that's the same with you for it, like where the story inspiration comes from. I kind of just feel like you just get into the habit of opening yourself up to whatever you read, whatever you like. Even if you like watching TV shows and stuff, you start to sort of try to blend ideas together, and sometimes just the coalescence of two ideas coming together make you think, oh, that's an interesting angle, or like sometimes I'll just have like a mood or like an image I'm trying to capture, which tends to be the more surreal stories, or like you get the whole like what if situations. Like the episode coming out on Monday is sort of what if the Turing test was told in like a brutal Big Brother house. That might be the way they sort of do it in the future. But I mean, I do think it's a habit. I don't think story ideas are like only for particular creative people. I just think some people are more in that habit of allowing themselves to sort of wonder and ponder and just see where they take them. Short stories are good as well because you can come up with an idea. If it doesn't work, you just throw it away. And
yeah, it's a bit different for a novel.
Yeah.
But I mean, one of the things I think we said on another podcast somewhere else, but when we were coming up with novel ideas to co-write, it was a case of we were coming up with X meets X. So They Rot was The Thing meets...
was The Thing, The Last of Us, and Dead Space.
The Last of Us and Dead Space. So it was kind of taking three different concepts and finding your own way to tell a story based off of those, which is quite a cool way to do it because... especially if you're trying to communicate it to someone else, it's much easier to use something that people are familiar with to say, like, I don't know, it's Grey's Anatomy meets Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah. And like I feel like
sounds
sometimes
awesome.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you do that, and then that's like enough. That's all you need because like your creative engine starts to go away with that. Okay, so question number 2 from Amy Younger. You crank out so many excellent short stories on such a consistent basis. Do you write in the morning or at night? That's question number 2. Do you write in the morning or at night? Dan, let's start with you.
I'm more of a morning person when I write my stories, because I find, especially with the other stories, that because they are 2,000 words, I tend to want to write them in one block.
Yeah.
If I can, and just due to partly due to the way my life is, and partly just because I found that mornings tend to be better for just coming up with ideas, because if you wake up and go straight to your desk and write, you haven't had time to think about anything else, so your brain's just straight away plugging into a story.
Yeah.
Whereas, I mean, I have written things on lunch breaks at work, and I have written things in the evening if I've got a spare evening to do things. Like I think Diane Numeric I actually wrote in the evening, but I find they're a bit of a harder slug, and I'm not sure why. It just seems to be how I work best.
Yeah. What about you, Skip?
I mean, at the moment it's more evenings because I start quite early for work.
Yeah.
I did used to write in the morning when I started a bit later. That's another job, but yeah, no, it's evenings at the moment really because I've got time. But so yeah.
I think so. in the mornings, I can like say, Dan, like short stories. I like to try and get them out of the way in one go. Sometimes that doesn't work, but like that's the overall. Normally, I'll just say, just write 500 words of the short story. Just do 500 words, and by the time you're in 500 words, you manage to like click into what the story will be, and you'll like continue on to the end. But like, so I can't write in the middle of the day. I get so tired between 2 o'clock and like 5 o'clock. I just can't focus. And now I've decided to sort of stop trying to force that. So now I know, like, if I'm feeling that way, just don't bother. Just watch some YouTube videos and just like let your mind sort of mong out for a bit. But like mornings and between 7 and 9, I can generally write a lot in between those hours as well.
If I'm on a bit of a buzz hype as well, evenings I can. It's very, very rare, but sometimes I will get to a point where my partner goes to bed at about 10, half 10, and I'm just like, I'm wide awake. I feel inspired. I'll just crack something out.
I can't do that. After about 10 o'clock, I'm always like, I've written off the day by that point. It's like I'd rather just go to sleep and then wake up fresh the next morning. I can't write.
I suffer for it.
Yeah.
The next morning I won't write anything, but then I'm like, well, that kind of cancels it out because I've written something.
Yeah.
Then
yeah.
So.
But do you write on the weekends, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the same sort of time schedule in the weekday.
Yeah, it depends what's going on at the weekend, because it's not always possible where, you're seeing people you might be up early or whatever. But to be fair, most of the times I wake up, I try and stick to a thing where I feel it's better for your health if you wake up at the same time every morning. Because if you have like 5 or 6 days of waking up at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and then on a Sunday you don't wake up till 9, your body clock's then thrown out of whack.
Yeah. So
I try, and even if I get up earlier on a Sunday, it's around that time, even if it's like a half hour later or something.
Yeah. Do you have I do feel like I try to do the same thing, but I do feel like I get a sleep deficit. And then around about like midday, Saturday or Sunday, I just conk out for like an hour or two, and I feel amazing afterwards. But
nice little nap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next question from Amy Younger is, what's your fave author or horror series? Skip.
Do you want to take this one
go
now?
first? It's quite difficult, that.
It is a hard one, yeah. I mean, Stephen King, I think, is the obvious.
Yeah.
I think, favourite horror author. Yeah.
Stephen King's like the go-to, isn't he? But like, he is really good.
Yeah.
There's a reason
good,
for that,
so it's justified,
Yeah.
I think. And for comics is something I always sort of jump to, which probably isn't super relevant, but Witches. Who wrote Witches?
Scott Snyder.
Yeah, that one's good.
Yeah.
I mean, Robert Kirkman's done some really good series as well.
Yeah, I think like
Outcast is.
See, I never got into Outcast. I really liked Invincible and The Walking Dead. In fact, I loved Invincible. It's really good.
I've not actually read that. I heard they're making a series of it though.
Yeah, it starts off like a retro sort of comic book, and then it's suddenly
is that the one you sent me that's like ultra violent?
It's so violent, yeah. But it's really good. The world building in it is just really, really nice. But like, what about you, Dan? So, fave author or horror series? I've got like maybe 4 or 5 authors that I know I'll probably just keep coming back to again and again and again and again. But it's difficult to say a favourite.
Yeah, I'm looking at my bookshelf at the minute just to see what I've got up there, but I don't know. Like, I think for pure volume and pure amount of books that are just incredible, it's always going to come back to Stephen King too. I mean, I've read other horror authors that have written fantastic stuff, but it's only really Stephen King that I'm like, oh, and then this one, oh, and then this one, oh, and this one. Like, if someone says to me, what's your favourite Stephen King book? There's not one in particular that rises above the rest, because they're all fantastic.
Yeah.
Not all of them. A few of them are not as good, but he's got a lot that are awesome. And I think for me, in terms of favourite author, it depends on which genre I'm reading.
Yeah.
Because I remember reading Simon Koenig's The Relentless series when I was at college, which is a thriller series. And then I literally bought every one of his books after, because they're so fast-paced, they're so excellent for thriller books that I just loved it. And then I'm a bit of a fantasy reader as well, and it's always going to come back to Tolkien. And but horror-wise, Stephen King, series of books. I haven't really read too many horror series
It's very rare, isn't it, in horror to have a series?
because everyone's
Standard...
dead.
Yeah, by the end of the episode. I mean, there's like the Dark Tower, I guess, but it's more of a fantasy, I think.
I wouldn't class that as horror. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's well, people class that as urban fantasy now, don't they? Dark fantasy.
Yeah.
But I think if I was to say one Stephen King book that I absolutely adore and just resonated, I think it was the first one I read actually was Cujo.
Yeah. Okay.
Fantastic book.
Yeah. I would say horror series. That's quite difficult, but Joe Hill. I was going to say Joe King. Joe Hill's Lock and Key series is it's really scary and it's really good. Neil Gaiman's Sandman series. That's more of a fantasy, but I mean it's got like horror elements which are really good. In fact, there's loads of like I don't think you get a horror series in books. Not really, but like in comics, it's more of a done thing. So like Preacher has got like a lot of horror elements. It's really good.
Preacher.
Yeah.
New series starts soon. I say soon, this year.
Yeah. Favorite author? I mean, I'd probably say Stephen King now, but I'm coming to him quite late. I would also say Murakami. I really like Kafka. There's a guy called Andrew Kaufman I really like that sort of surreal, sort of magic realist stuff. But yeah. No, there's a lot of good authors, aren't they? Hopefully that sort of answers your question somewhat.
I think if it was a book that I enjoyed last year that was better than the rest, I think The Girl with All the Gifts was fantastic. M.R. Carey.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
Also, I've seen the film. I haven't read the book. Have you seen the?
It's pretty much the same.
Yeah, I've seen both.
Is it the same?
The ending was slightly different.
The film was nice.
But yeah, the film's cool. The film had the music from Cristobal Tapia. I think that's his name. But the music's so good. He did the music for Utopia and some other cool stuff. Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency as well. He does the music in it's so good. Okay, so hopefully that answers your questions, Amy. Sorry, a bit meandering, but that's just how it goes.
This is chill.
Yeah. Okay, so Graham Cooling, who does our lovely illustrations for our episodes.
What's up, Graham?
How do you go about publishing as independents, and what are your favourite literary characters? So how do you go about publishing as independents? That's quite a big topic. I mean, that's what we talk about in the Story Studio quite a lot, and it really depends on if you're doing comics, if you're doing podcasts, if you're doing books. Maybe
is it worth doing just a brief overview of places to go?
Yeah, okay. So let's start with books then.
Yeah, so Kindle, you tend to want to... I'll say your number one place to go is Kindle Direct Publishing with KDP, where you can literally just upload your story and it's on the Amazon store within 24, 48 hours. Print books, you've got places like Create Space, which is a partner company of Amazon, so everything streamlines it and they work together. You have both your ebook and your print book on the store sort of in a couple of days as well. But then you have places like
Ingram
Sparks, which does your limited runs of hardbacks, and I think you can also do ebooks through there as well. If I'm, or is it just print?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. ACX for audiobooks as well.
What about comics? What's the UK comics printing?
Well, yeah. So comics. I mean, the way it seems to be done at the minute is through Kickstarter to sort of get your funding. I would say definitely check out the Awesome Comics podcast because they talk a lot about how UK creatives and small press people make comics. And comicprintinguk.com is the website to get it printed. And like once you've got it up, I think use KDP again. Not sure, we haven't done that yet, so we'll have to see how that works. And also Comixology.
Do you run the comics through KDP?
I know you can publish comics through Amazon. I'm not too sure how it works yet as ebooks. But there's Comixology, which is an Amazon company. There's like a Comixology Submit part of their website, and they feature like loads of indie books and stuff. And apparently you can make some, change doing it that way. Podcasts. I mean, so we started with Libsyn, which is the most well-known sort of robust podcast host. You can use podbean.com as well.
Simplecast.
Simplecast is really good actually because it is, as in the name, it is very simple. And you get like a nice looking website as well with it, which is always handy.
Is there a complicated cast?
There is, yeah. Don't go to that one. And then, but we use Acast now, who sort of. I don't think they'll take you on if you're like a new podcast. You have to sort of have a proven audience and proven download numbers, because they will host you for free, but they will deliver ads. But they're sort of becoming a partner in a way, so you can't go without anything to show for it. So I'd say go to Libsyn, get some sort of podcast going, like an interview podcast over Skype. It's normally the way to get into it, and then move.
And that's Libsyn, LIBSYN.com.
Yeah. And that's how you publish as an independent. That's
boom.
I mean, there's more to it, obviously, but that's the main thing, I guess. Okay, so what are your favourite literary characters? Skip. I think I might know who you might go for, but I don't know.
We're talking about fictional characters.
Yeah.
Probably Spider Jerusalem.
Yeah, I was going to say Spider Jerusalem. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's one of my favourite characters. He's just a lot of fun to read.
Yeah.
About his exploits.
Have you looked at Warren Ellis's newsletter or anything? Because you're right, it's almost like he is Spider Jerusalem. Like he is very sort of like he was talking the other day about when the alt-right guy got punched in the face, about like how that was a good thing, and it just felt very much like reading Spider Jerusalem in a way. Yeah,
you can tell a lot of it does seem like it is really coming from him when you're reading it. I think it's kind of. I think when I first read it, I did think it was more based on like Hunter S. Thompson or something, but in the cyberpunk future, and but a lot of it's really on point, and it's just he's just kind of that nice. It's just kind of that angry voice that's just a bit childish, but still.
Yeah. What about you, Dan? Favorite literary character?
That's a big question. I've got a few people that come to mind that I like from different things. So from the Lord of the Rings series, I love Glorfindel, who is one of these characters that you don't really see a lot of in the films, but he's one of the powerful elves of Rivendell. Who he's just cool.
Yeah.
Tad from Cujo, who's a little boy that goes through shit. In The Stand, a character called Tom Cullen, who he's in my head at the minute because he's quite a recent example. He's one of these characters that when he came into it, I didn't quite like him to start with, because he's basically a man-child with a bit of a dodgy brain. So he's not all there. But he kind of goes along with one of the characters, and everything he says, he finishes with laws, yes, and everything is laws, yes, and it's this, and it's like MOON, that spells happy, and all this other stuff. And it was really annoying to start off with, but as the book goes on, it becomes a part of the story, and he's just really in my head. I got to the end, I was like, I actually really like this character.
Yeah.
But I think most of them will come back to Lord of the Rings for favourite literary characters of all time.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, and I've only read the first 2 books, but I can already tell that he's going to be like a literary character that will stay in my mind for a long time. Is Roland Deschain from the Dark Tower series? I just feel like there's something really poetic about him and his mission. Like there's something that just will always stay with me. I would also say FCShultz from the Assassin's Apprentice fantasy series, Robin Hobb series. I always remember him because he just gets beaten up so much, like physically and mentally abused in so many ways throughout the books, and that's what makes you sort of like elicits like a sympathy for him, like really nicely, which is good. I don't know, it's quite difficult. I
don't think there's one that particularly stands out above the rest, because they all have their own stories.
Yeah. I mean, the book I've just read, American Gods by Neil Gaiman, I thought Shadow Moon was a pretty interesting character, but only like the second half of the book, when he's sort of, because he's like a passive character for most of the book, but then it's quite interesting to like see how he changes. It's quite nice, but that's only because it's top of mind because I've just read the book. Yeah. Don't know, any more, Skip?
A few characters I've been reading the Wicked and the Divine series.
Oh yeah, Kieran Gillen and what's his Jamie something. It's from Nottingham, the artist.
Oh really?
Yeah.
all the characters in that are really interesting. I still don't know where it's going, so I have to see. But yeah, I think that's similar vibe to American Gods, where it's sort of a modern telling of ancient mysticism and gods and things. So
yeah, they're like pop stars, aren't they?
yeah, Lucifer was good.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to talk too much about the story.
I saw the first issue. I read the first issue, and there's that like the clicking cliffhanger. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, they sort of click to use it.
I'd probably, like,
but yeah.
maybe. I mean, I would have to probably say actually like superheroes. Like Deadpool is just because like I've got such a soft spot from growing up reading like old Deadpool comics. Like he is like a great literary character. Like just as a fictional character goes. But then like all of the superheroes are the reason they're so pervasive in our culture is because they're amazing characters and they symbolize a lot to people.
They've got a hell of a story behind them.
Yeah. Okay, so hopefully that answers your questions, Graham. In terms of like the publishing thing, you depending on what you want to do, but like there's a lot of more resources out there that will tell you more about it, really. Okay,
and if you do ever want to find out more, just send us an email.
Yeah. FCShultz got a couple of questions. So the first one is, where does creativity come from?
Generally,
I think, yeah.
What part of the brain? Anybody? Yes.
Yeah. I think it's part of human nature, isn't it? It's just it's the way we make tools and I don't know.
I think it comes from being a kid, and that it's going to sound like the whole corny, this is what life is, life's a magical thing. But when you're a kid, everything can be anything, and use your imagination just to keep you entertained, really. And the older you get, obviously, the more you're like, this is how the world should work. Yeah. And then that box slows down a bit. But for me, I think creativity comes from just experience, just from taking opportunities, doing things outside your comfort zone, reading around every genre, so not just your own.
Yeah.
And the more you can fill yourself with, because the minute you start putting yourself down just one channel, one lane, that's when you start limiting the things that you know and the things you can create.
Yeah.
But if you start going, like for example, with the podcasts, originally I never set out to write stories for a podcast or to host on a podcast, but the fact that I've done them, and especially with changing themes every week on the other stories, that's some of those themes are really tricky and stuff that I would never go for originally. But just saying yes and going for it, you come up with stuff that you didn't think would be possible.
You just remind me of a book, Dan, when you're talking about being a kid. There's a book I read once a year. It's called Ignore Everybody and 39 Other Steps to Creativity by Hugh MacLeod. It's a really good book. And in one of the chapters, he talks about how when you're a kid, you're given like a set of crayons and they just say, do whatever you want. And then like there's endless possibilities with these crayons. And then they take them away from you. And then say, now you're an adult, you're not allowed to use the crayons. And then like when you're older in life, and you've got the urge to make something, it's just like your inner child saying, give me my crayons back.
Yeah.
But I'll definitely recommend that book. It's really good. It's all about creativity. Skip, anything to add to that?
No, I think that's pretty much a great analogy for it all, really. Yeah. No.
It's a muscle as well, isn't it? So the more you actually, so if you want to be a writer, if you want to be a painter, the more you actually use or do the thing that you want to do, the more that muscle stretches, and you can kind of build on that and come up with new things.
Yeah. So second question from FCShultz. When you get an idea for a story, how do you decide if it will be a short story, novel, series, comic, film, or something else?
Or all of them.
Yeah. Skip, what do you reckon?
I mean, it's hard to know. It's kind of, with it being a short story or a novel, I guess you kind of have to make an assessment of how much depth the idea has, how much you can get out of it without stretching it too far. And then for comics and things, you just, if I'm imagining something that's a lot more visual than it is literary, like, something relies more on the speech and what people are saying, that's probably, better for a book. But if it's very visual, if everything's very much about the aesthetics, then it probably will, I'll really try and think about it as a comic. But obviously a lot harder to make a comic as well. So it's kind of, you've got to work out what's feasible.
Yeah, I think it's it's a lot harder to make a novel. It's a lot harder to make a film. It's a lot harder to make comics. So sometimes a short story is just because that's the easiest way to get an idea on, like, down and in front of people.
I think we said before, it's kind of a good, like a testing ground as well. I mean, some of the ideas from some of my sort of sci-fi other stories I'm using in part again for the novel I'm writing at the moment, and it does help just to really turn those like simple ideas into maybe bigger ideas.
Yeah.
It was like a bit of a melting pot, I guess. Yeah.
It's funny that I feel like most ideas can be a short story. Not all ideas could be a novel. I do feel like like writing those short stories, like there's so many of the other stories that I look back at and go, I'd love to turn that to a novel. I'd love to turn that to a novella. But like, it's not so much a case of this one being better for one should have been a novel or one should have been a short story. It's really a case of me having the time and choosing this is the one I'm going to turn into a novel, and then building a story around that, building like character arcs and stuff that you can't really get in a short story. But yeah, and also like we're all like any idea can really be adapted for most things. I believe, just because I mean, look at like comics. Like so many comics are now films, and they're adapted pretty well. American Gods, again, just because I read it just now, it's becoming a TV show that's coming out soon. Looks like it's going to be adapted pretty well. Like most things can be adapted in various ways, but you just got to use what resources you've got available to you. And I believe that's probably why we write fiction and prose most of the time, just because that's the most available resource we have.
Yeah, I think Skip hit the nail on the head when he said about substance, how deep into a story you want to go, because just a tangible example to use was my first novel that I wrote that's never going to be published. That came originally from literally 500 words that I wrote at a writers group, and I thought, there's more to this and I want to explore it further, which then turned into, I think it was like an 85,000 word novel, which I look back on and go, this is far too big now. But even though I'm not going to, I mean, I might recycle the idea in the future or come back to it, but just in that, going through that exercise of having something small, making it bigger, you get a gauge of how big you want the story to go.
Yeah.
So it could be that, some people have made entire novels out of the events that happen in 24 hours. And then other people have written a story of the same length that spans over the course of decades.
Yeah.
So it's really like what you were saying, Luke. It's up to what you want out of it at that moment in time. Because they easily could have been a series of short stories, but we wanted to write a novel.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
lots of different short stories, but yeah.
Yeah, I think I would say when I first sort of started doing stuff, I used to write short stories and think, I'd like to make that a novel, and I'd go back and I basically just try to fluff out the short story to make it longer, not realizing that they're kind of fundamentally different in the way the story should be told. So I had to write a couple of novels to realize that. But yeah, I mean it's all different, but I mean it's all, I don't know, you could adapt them to anything you want, really. Yeah. Anything else to add, Skip?
No, I think that's
cool. Okay, so the last couple of questions then, and we're coming up to like 40 minutes now. So at Super Andy T83, so Andy CT, the hose on my Hoover just doesn't pick up like it used to. Cleaning the stairs is a real chore, and clearing the filters doesn't help. Any ideas?
Well, I know that they used to do a thing in Currys where if you take in your old Hoover, they will take off £100 off a new Dyson. So
really,
yeah, that's how I got my Dyson.
Nice. You could do that, Andy. So you clean the filters. Have you looked in the tube? There might be like something stuck there. I've got my boss at work. He's a self-confessed Hoover whisperer. Like he can fix Hoovers. I don't even know what he does with the Hoovers.
Does he just go up to them and go?
Does he just actually secretly replace them for an identical Hoover and pretend he's got them sort of gift?
Like when your parents used to swap your hamsters over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of
have All gone.
Has Andy tried emptying the bag?
Have you tried emptying the bag?
Yes, because that might be. Has he
Have you
is it
considered
plugging
looking
in?
to see if the seal is broken?
Mm.
Maybe
the
there's
seal?
a gap somewhere.
Why?
Not like Kiss from a Rose, but
Yeah, I'm going to say we're talking about Seal the Singer.
but like the rubber seal around the edges. Maybe there's a gap in one of those, and when it's trying to suck up, it's losing some of its suction.
Yeah.
There was a Hoover I used to have actually, and it wasn't the filter. It was actually the thing. There's like a spongy thing that goes on the back of
Yeah, I know what you
where
mean.
the hot air comes out, and
Yeah.
that was getting clogged up with dust. So
Yeah.
sometimes you just have to take that out and then like bash it and get some of the dust out. That might be.
Speaking
Have you turned it off and on
Worth a go.
Have you tried turning it off and on again? Something that I was going to ask you guys. Did you ever used to, when you were hoovering, did you ever used to sing to your hoover, like harmonise to it? It's great because you can really practice like your perfect fifths and like your.
Yeah, I used to harmonise like with the microwave and stuff like that.
Yeah.
With the microwave.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
making my waffles with cheese on or whatever healthy thing I used to eat.
I have a
with ketchup.
I have
as well,
a
so-
15. I have a 15% success rate with harmonies.
What? What do you mean? How did you get that? That's like a mathematical.
Is there a joke in there that we don't get?
No, it's just an educated guess. I have moments where I'm like, I hear a song and I go to harmonize and it's perfect, and then 85% of the time it's unsuccessful.
Yeah, like I do feel like some people are really good. One of my friends, Rob, he can he'll hear like a melody and you'll say, okay, now do a perfect fourth, and he'll just get it right and it'll just sound beautiful. It takes like when I'm trying to find a harmony, I do have to find it and then work out what it is and then try to sing. And sometimes I drop out of it. What I've started to do actually is harmonize every song I'm singing along to. So I'll try and do like a fourth or something above it, and it makes it a bit easier. But I'm still not very good at it.
Yeah, my partner teaches music, and she's good at picking them out. She's very, very good at picking them out. She's not instantly like boom, boom, and hits them, but she's pretty damn quick at getting it. And I'll say to her, I really want to do the harmonies to this, and like about 2 minutes later, she's teaching me harmony.
This is
15 minutes.
This is a bit embarrassing, but have you seen the James Corden karaoke carpool things? There's one with Chris Martin, and then Chris Martin's playing like a little piano ditty. It's a Coldplay song, I don't know what it is, but then James Corden just like, because James Corden I think is a classically trained singer, just suddenly bursts into this like absolutely perfect harmony, and like it just as if it's like nothing. I'm like, that's actually quite a skill.
I'm
impressed.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
I wonder if they practiced.
Yeah.
For the next Skype call, should we work on like a barbershop quartet or something?
Yeah.
We'll do all the song, all the responses in harmony.
Yeah. Okay, so the last question is again from Andy. So hopefully you've sorted your Hoover out, Andy. Try singing to it. It might bring it back to life. When you collaborate on a writing project, do you co-write everything or have a lead with others providing edits and ideas?
This is more for you guys, I would say.
Yeah, so I think Skip hasn't co-written yet, but I think you're open to the idea, right?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Okay, so I mean, co-writing. So I've only really co-written a couple of things. So me and Dan are co-writing novels, and me and Ben are co-writing comics. But Dan, how would you say we do it? Because we kind of do it differently depending on the project at the minute.
Yeah, I think subconsciously you put I don't want to say a project lead, but someone who is running the idea at the helm. So that's kind of why we were co-writing 2 books at the same time, was because it meant that we could each take that role and see which one works best for us as a partnership.
Yeah.
But I think that in terms of generating ideas and everything, it's... So when we originally came up with the idea, I wanted to do something a bit more horror-y, and I think you wanted to come up with something that was a bit more sci-fi. I mean, it was kind of set in space to begin with, wasn't it? And came down to earth a lot over the course of it.
Yeah.
But we went away and came up with the ideas of the things that we wanted to come up with, each for the individual project, and then basically pitched them to each other. So it was like you still had your input of this is what I want the story to be.
Yeah.
But then you have to kind of validate that against someone else you're going to be working with to come up with the idea that works best for you both.
Yeah.
Because I'm not, say, I don't know, Luke, you were terrified of rabbits. I'm never going to come up with an idea where I'm just like, yeah, let's write about killer rabbits and all this other stuff, because that's not it's not fair. Um, but I think most of the time, I think we're pretty good at just sharing ideas, and if one of us likes something, we'll try and incorporate it in some way.
Yeah, I think so it's the whole thing of like pitching each other, and then once like you'll know when the other person's like when it's clicking with them, when it's not. The ones that aren't will just sort of fade away, and then the ideas that sort of stick, we'll then pass over, and then the other writer will then do a bit more of a detailed outline of what could happen. So at this point, you've already got like the co-written story outline, which so it's like right at the get-go, the map is designed by both people, and then it's a case of just someone does the first draft and back and forth until we're both sort of happy with the end result. But like I do feel like that initial part is very important in terms of getting on the same page right at the start, like, to both being happy with the idea, because then it doesn't feel to me like, oh, now I'm working on Dan's book, or like now I'm doing my book. It just feels like we're working on our ideas and trying to If you were writing literary fiction or something that was designed to be purely you, I don't think this would work. But because we're writing genre fiction, and we know what we like in genre fiction books, it works.
Yeah, I think the key is to be just very open and honest on bits that you think will work, bits that you think won't. And I mean, we've not really come across it a couple of times, but I imagine if we get to, or we've had it once or twice where one of us will say, why don't we do this? And the other person will say, actually, I don't feel like that'll work. But as long as you can hash that out in a way that works for you both, I think that's the key part. And
also, like, not being too precious. I do think if this is the first book I was written, I might be a bit too precious and stuff. But now I've sort of realised that I'm not a genius. I just have to be like,
what?
Just have to be more open to like saying, like if like Dan, if you change like a bit of prose or something, I'm not going to go, but I wanted the colon there. Like I'm not going to get that precious at all. As long as the story's good, I'm fine.
I can genuinely go back through They Rot and forget who wrote which part.
Yeah, it's blended quite well, isn't it? With me and Ben, it's a little bit the same thing. It was Ben's story. It was Ben's character, and then I said, why don't we put him in a post-apocalyptic future? And then I think we both sort of just bashed ideas back and forth of what could happen. And then we came up with like an outline together. So the same thing. We came up with a map between us that we were both happy with. I rushed through a first draft to like get like an idea, like a bit more of a idea down of what the script would be, and then Ben fine-tuned it, and then we just passed back and forth until we're both happy. But even with that, like, we were still fixing stuff and are still fixing stuff and changing stuff with the artist as well. Like, the comics are much more collaborative than books generally.
By its nature, yeah. I'm also just to throw another example as well. I'm working currently on a script for a TV episode with a good friend of mine, and that's a very, very similar process of we had like a story meeting where we come up with the ideas and we make sure that we're happy with what we want to do and that the vision is clear. And my writing partner there, John, he then came up with like a storyboard of images that he just wanted to throw together just to make sure that what we were visioning, because obviously the scripts will be a lot more visual, that what we were seeing was exactly the same thing. We had the same ideas in mind, because I think especially you said it a little bit earlier, but hashing out exactly what you want early on is the best way to avoid problems later, because I think it would be gutting to get to, you hand me over draft one of They Rot and me suddenly go, but this isn't what I had in mind at all.
So I've written film scripts where like I've given a director a script that was my idea initially, and it hasn't. Well, it's worked out quite well, but like there's always bits where I'm like, oh, I wish he hadn't done that quite like that. It's different in my head, and that's the case of me going in with my preset expectations and a director taking it. And I've also had a director ask me to write for them, and it felt very much like they already had a thing in mind, and they were just asking me to move stuff around because they wanted it to be more like what they had in mind. I think it's best to do what you're doing, Dan. And I'm starting to work on a film with a guy at the minute, and I think we're going to do a similar thing, just in the conception stage, try and get on the same page there. And I think that's the best way to do it.
We just had a running Google Doc, and we were just throwing pictures in and just typing stuff. And Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. That's all the questions I've got here. But I was thinking what we could do to finish the Q&A. Skip, we're going to give you a quickfire round.
Oh no. Okay.
So we've got the one. It's the one we use for John Monk on the Story Studio podcast.
Okay.
Are
Let
you
me
able to
just
get
get
it up then?
Giggity. 2 seconds. I'm sure I do somewhere.
I've just put it on the thingy if you need it.
I have you. Perfect.
Yeah. Are you ready, Skip?
Yeah. Go on. What are we?
Cool. Yeah. So we're going to throw like questions at you, quick fire style. You've got like 5 to 10 seconds per question to come up with an answer, and then just see how it goes.
Cool. I'm ready.
Okay. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
After you.
Okay. Question number 1: Heaven or hell?
I think that says it all, really.
I prefer
Okay.
neither. Purgatory.
Purgatory.
The
Okay.
abyss. The void.
The void.
Okay.
Sweet nothing.
Co-writing or solo?
At the moment, solo, but I want to co-write a lot. That seems to be pretty sweet.
Licorice or sherbet?
Licorice.
Ugh, can't do licorice.
When's your birthday?
October.
25th of October. I don't know.
October,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then as young as anyone would believe.
The last book you read.
You trying to find it?
I'm trying to think what it was. It was probably Trees Book 2. It's like one of the new Garth Ennis
Yeah.
sci-fi series.
What's your favourite word?
Haberdashery. Tabernacle.
Tabernacle's a good one. I always like that one.
Tabernacle's a good one.
Yeah.
There was another one, but I can't remember.
Least
have
favourite
another favourite.
hobbits.
Hobbit.
Least favourite hobbits.
My least favourite Hobbit. I don't know. Frodo is
Whoa.
alright. Bilbo whines a bit. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
No,
Where do you shop?
Where do I shop?
Yeah.
Charity shops, pretty much exclusively nowadays. I got a pair of Vans for £5. I'm quite proud of that.
Nice.
Where do you shop again?
So yeah,
What did you say?
charity shops.
Charity shops.
Charity
Oh,
shops.
okay. But you said
I
Terry's.
think that was like Terry's
Terry
chocolate
shops.
orange shops.
Yeah. Okay. Number 9. What's up? Okay.
Ceiling. I'm really not good at this.
Number 10. Would you come back on the show?
Do I have to?
Yes.
Yes, of
Yes, you
course
do,
I
yeah.
would. Yes.
Okay, cool. So that's all the questions we've got today. Thank you for everyone who sent them in. We're going to do more of these question type things on our Patreon page. So if you want to join in, go to patreon.com/Hawk and Cleaver and pledge. It's only
Literally,
£1, isn't it?
and then ask us absolutely anything you want.
Yeah.
If you pledge enough money, I can take body language lessons and be less awkward on camera. So we'll start a new pledge tier for that.
Yeah.
Body
Cool.
language lessons. Oh,
Body language lessons
What
for
do you think
Skip is a stretch goal. Yeah.
Yes.
A milestone goal.
$500.
We will improve our Skip's body language.
I could have a stunt double. I could have a stunt me that'll just do all the camera stuff.
Or like
Yeah.
a little ventriloquism puppet.
Yeah.
That'd be good. Oh wow, what?
It's my
What the hell is
Ziltoid.
Oh.
Is his
That's
mouth
pretty
open?
cool.
No, but his arms waggle about.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, so
I don't know why he's next to.
we'll leave it at that. So thank you very much, and bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.